Triple H said the WWE 2023 draft would change the game. Well, as Jigsaw would say, I think it's game over. Welcome back, guys, to Fog Wrestling. We have an update on the new World Heavyweight Championship that is going to be on Raw, that was supposed to be on Raw, that was supposed to be an exclusive title on the Red brand. However, Triple H in the press conference for Backlash or whatever shit pay-per-view is happening tonight. I believe it is Backlash. But anyway, he was in Puerto Rico for the press conference. Backlash, and Triple H had some breaking news, and he announced that there would be a tournament to determine the new World Heavyweight Champion. Now, is that a bad thing, a tournament? No, a tournament is okay, but what Triple H said next is a bad thing. He announced that it would feature superstars from both Raw and Smackdown. Yes, you heard it right, Raw and Smackdown. This title that's exclusive to Raw is going to feature superstars competing in a tournament from Raw and Smackdown on the first Raw after Backlash when the draft goes into effect. So the very first night this draft goes into effect, we're going to have superstars for both brands competing for this title. What an absolute joke. What a shit show. What is the point of the draft? This is why people criticise this. This is why people say that there's no point of having a draft. Look, I like the fact that they do a draft. I like the thought of having different rosters. At least it makes both shows feel a little bit different. But unless you're going to follow through and actually stick by the rules, unless you're going to stick by the rosters and keep both shows totally separate, then what is the point? There is no point. So Triple H announced that we would have 2 triple threat matches on Raw, with the winners of those triple threat matches competing in the main event later that night. And we would have the same on SmackDown, 2 triple threat matches on SmackDown, with the 2 winners again competing in the SmackDown main event later that night. So the 2 winners from both those main events will meet at Night of Champions. So we're going to get a SmackDown guy versus a Raw guy at Night of Champions. So that means going into Night of Champions, we will have a SmackDown wrestler who's just been drafted to SmackDown in the draft, competing for the World Heavyweight title that is exclusive to Monday Night Raw. What sense does that make? Honestly, it makes no sense. I just don't understand it. Now, I did say during the draft that Raw did get shafted in terms of main eventers. Raw barely got any. Now, people said, oh, you're being overcritical. Oh, you're being negative. You're bashing WWE for no reason. No. WWE Raw lost in the draft. It is a fact. Raw now got the majority of the women and the majority of the mid-carders and the majority of the tag teams. But in terms of main event stars, Monday Night Raw doesn't have many. So maybe that is why they didn't do a tournament on Raw. But I still think they could have done an 8-man tournament on Raw. I still think they could have done, just like a 8-man, 4 matches, quarterfinals, semi-finals, final. I think that would have been fine. Why couldn't they do that? I don't know. Did they feel like there wasn't enough star power on Raw, considering this is a brand new heavyweight title? Is that why they've included SmackDown? I've no idea. But the whole thing's a mess, because let's just say the Raw guy wins, okay? So therefore the SmackDown guy never actually steps foot on Raw. It's still incredibly lame that we're supposed to have 2 entirely separate shows, 2 entirely separate rosters, and you've got a SmackDown guy even eligible to win the Raw title. And second of all, when he wins on SmackDown for the next 2 weeks, what is he going to do? Are you trying to tell me that they're going to try and push, they're going to try and promote, they're going to try and build to this title match, and they're not going to have these 2 wrestlers cross brands? Are you telling me that there's going to be no rivalry? There's going to be no confrontation? There's going to be nothing between these 2 guys? The guy who wins on Raw and the guy who wins on SmackDown? I highly doubt that. We'll probably get the winner of the Raw tournament. He'll be on SmackDown, or the winner of the SmackDown tournament will be on Raw, and it's like the brand split is totally done. It's been killed already. Why the fuck didn't they just have the tournament be exclusive to Raw, since it's a title that's going to be on Raw? And let's say a Raw guy does win it. We're going to say, well, that's predictable, because the SmackDown guy wasn't going to win it because of the brand split. So, therefore, we kind of know the outcome. And let's say that doesn't happen. Let's say the Swervis and a SmackDown guy wins. Well, what happens? Does he take that Raw title to SmackDown? Is he able to appear on both shows like all the free agents? Does he move from Smackdown to Raw? You know, it's just a mess. It's an absolute mess. So yeah, Triple H claimed this draft, was changing the game. Nothing's changed in the game. Like, same old crap. It's the same old fucking shite, man. This show is garbage. Triple H is garbage. People will defend this. People will claim that Triple H is the best thing to ever happen to wrestling. No. Honestly, man, he's quickly becoming one of the worst things to happen to wrestling. It saddens me to say that, because I know a lot of people did not like Triple H back in the day. They claimed the Evolution run killed wrestling. Look, Triple H has never been one of my favourites, but I've always respected him. I've always thought he was good. I've always liked him. I've always enjoyed watching him. But honestly, man, his run as a booker since he retired, since he took over for McMahon, his version of wrestling, his run with NXT, the direction he's taken the company, it absolutely sucks. So there you go, guys. The draft completely broken. It's not the first night the draft goes into effect, and we're basically having the two shows collide in a tournament. You cannot make this shit up. You cannot make this shit up. It's an absolute mess. Anyway, guys, that is it. I'll catch you in the next one. I'm not even bothered about who's competing in the tournament. I mean, who cares? I'm not even going to waste my time going through who could be the next champ. I'll make a video maybe tomorrow discussing who I think should be the first person to hold this title. But in terms of who's going to be in this 12-man tournament, honestly, couldn't care less. Absolute joke. Why not just have it exclusive to Raw? Have an 8-man... Hell, if you don't have 8 main eventers, which you don't, just have a 4-way tournament. Have 2 semi-finals with both winners meeting at, Night of Champions or whatever. But no, they have to include SmackDown on the fucking same week that the draft comes into effect. Honestly, unbelievable. Unbelievable. That's it, guys. WWE sucks. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.